You know, we all go through things, right? We have all these experiences, but how often do we really turn them into wisdom? Today, we're going to break down something called the 5R framework. It's a super simple method for turning what happens to you into a real insight you can actually use. Okay, so picture this. You've just wrapped up a project, maybe you had a tough conversation, or you just got through a really long week. And you've got this feeling, this nagging feeling that you learned something important, but if someone asked you what that lesson was, you just kind of stare at them blankly.
Yeah, it's a feeling we all know. You know that an experience meant something, but the actual takeaway is fuzzy. It's just out of reach. So what do you do about that?
Well, the good news is there's actually a way to cut through all that fog. There's a structured framework that can literally guide you from that moment of confusion to a moment of, ha, I get it now. And that's exactly what we're digging into today, the 5R reflection framework. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a map that helps you navigate your own experiences to find the good stuff that's hidden in there. So here it is. This is the roadmap. The whole framework is built on 5 pretty simple steps, and they all start with the letter R, which is kind of handy. Reporting, responding, relating, reasoning, and reconstructing. We're going to walk through every single one. Okay, so what does each of these steps actually mean? Let's break it down. First up, you've got reporting. The goal here is to be completely objective, just the facts. Who, what, where, when. The real trick is to fight that urge to add your own opinion or judgment. Think of yourself as a security camera, just recording exactly what happened. All right, next up is responding. And this is where you bring your own story into it. How did you feel in that moment? What were your immediate thoughts? Were you stressed out? Were you excited? Maybe a little anxious? This step is all about being brutally honest with yourself. And, a lot of people skip this one. But your feelings, they're really important clues for what's actually going on under the surface. The third R is relating. This is where you start connecting the dots between this one event and, well, the rest of your life. Have you felt this way before? Have you seen this problem somewhere else? It helps you see patterns, and it stops every new challenge from feeling like this giant brand new disaster you've never faced. And now we get to reasoning, and let me tell you, this is where the magic happens. Here, you finally stop talking about what happened, and you start asking why it happened. Was it a problem with the strategy? Was it a total breakdown in communication? Was it maybe a personal habit that got in your way? This is where you really dig in and find the root causes.
And I really want to pause on this for a second, because reasoning is the absolute core engine of this entire framework. This step is what separates real, meaningful reflection from just complaining. It's the move from just retelling a story to actually understanding it. And finally, we get to reconstructing. After all that thinking and analyzing, what's the plan? What are you actually going to do differently next time? And we're not talking about vague wishes here. We're talking about a concrete, actionable plan. Because without this step, all that reflection is just daydreaming. This is what turns your insight into real-world change. Okay, theory is great and all, but let's see how this thing actually works in the real world. We're going to follow the story of an intern who uses the 5Rs to make sense of a really stressful situation at work. So the intern starts with reporting, just the cold, hard facts. In my second week, I had to write my first formal clinical case record. The deadline was tight. See, there's no emotion, no drama, just the raw situation. But then they move on to responding, and they get really honest about their feelings. I felt a lot of pressure. I was worried my work wasn't professional enough. I also felt my time management was poor. This is real, it's raw, and it gets right to the heart of what they were going through. Next, relating. The intern connects this feeling to a past experience. This reminded me of my senior thesis project, where poor planning led to messy content. They even remember some old advice from a teacher. Suddenly you realize, this isn't a new problem. It's a pattern. And now for that critical step, reasoning. The intern figures out the why. The delay happened because I was unfamiliar with the format, didn't ask for help, and underestimated the time required. See, this isn't just I was stressed. This is a clear diagnosis of the root problem. And all of that great analysis leads to this final step, reconstructing.
A solid plan for the future. Create a schedule, confirm the direction early, study examples. This is a powerful, clear strategy for next time. So here's the big takeaway. Through this simple, structured process, something that started out as a really stressful, negative experience was completely transformed. It became a valuable learning opportunity with a real plan for growth. I mean, that's the power of this whole thing right there. Okay, so that's a nice story for the intern. But why does this actually matter for you? Because you can use this tool for pretty much anything in your life. A challenge at work, trying to learn a new skill, a personal project you're struggling with, even a difficult conversation. It's a universal tool for just getting better at, well, everything. At the end of the day, the 5R framework is all about a fundamental mindset shift. It helps you move past just asking, what happened, and start asking the questions that really matter. Why did it happen? And most importantly, how can I do better next time? So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. You don't have to do this huge 5-step breakdown every single time something happens. But what if you did? What if after a small challenge or even a small win, you just took a minute to think about one or two of these steps? Could a small daily habit of reflection totally change how you learn and grow? It might be worth a shot.